Are you someone who has a hard time being in large crowds? You would rather spend time alone? Are your emotions triggered easily? You feel things deeply but may hide your emotions from others because you've learned to retreat. You may appear uncomfortable in group situations like meetings or parties because there's too much stimulation, like loud noises. I am going to tell you why and how to cope with anxiety, so stay with me. If you can relate to some of the things that I just mentioned, you may be a highly sensitive person. A highly sensitive person is described as someone who has a sensitive nervous system. A highly sensitive person is also known as a HSP, is aware of subtleties in his or her surroundings and more easily overwhelmed when in a highly stimulating environment. So, HSP isn't a disorder or a condition, but rather a personality trait that's also known as a sensory processing sensitivity, SPS. Let me quickly explain. High sensitivity is a normal trait found in roughly 20% of the population, so it's quite common. The brains of those with SPS function a little differently than those without the trait. Nearly all animals have demonstrated this trait, including dogs, cats, fish, and horses. Even insects can have an SPS trait. If you or someone you know is a highly sensitive person, understanding this trait can be helpful. Highly sensitive people often share a set of traits. Here's a list of 10 of them. Number 1, you cry easily. You cry when reading a book, watching a movie, or watching commercials. You cry when overstressed or uncertain. While crying is nothing to be ashamed of, highly sensitive people are often embarrassed about how easily they can be brought to tears. Number 2, you're overstimulated by crowds, too much activity, bright lights, loud noises, or strong odors. You avoid places with a lot of people or loud noise. Strong odors like smoke or perfume bother you. You are easily overstimulated in general. Number 3, you enjoy spending time alone. You truly enjoy spending time by yourself. When you're alone, you like to keep things simple and quiet. Number 4, you are more self-critical. Highly sensitive people are highly self-critical. You beat yourself up. Anything less than perfection can be a source of anxiety and embarrassment. Number 5, you make decisions more slowly. Highly sensitive people are committed to making the best possible decisions. You painstakingly go over every detail and consider all the possibilities. It can take a significant amount of time to get it right. Number 6, you care about the details. The highly sensitive notice everything. No detail is too small to make note of. Number 7, you react more strongly. It's common to overreact when you're highly sensitive. Things that upset the average person upset a highly sensitive person a lot. All emotional reactions are stronger. It can seem excessive. Your feelings are more easily hurt than those of the average person. This is a common theme in those that are highly sensitive. Overreaction to perceived slights or mild insults. When someone fails to say hello to you, does it bother you a lot? Do you assume the worst when someone slights you or makes questionable comment? Make an effort not to overreact if you're highly sensitive. Give yourself time for your emotions to return to normal before responding. Since you have intensified reactions to your surroundings, you may have difficulty multitasking and become stressed when too much is going on at once. Number 8, you are more annoyed by stray stimuli, whether it's squeaking noise in the car or something in your shoe, or scratchy fabric. Highly sensitive people are less able to ignore annoying stimuli. Highly sensitive people are easily overstimulated and overwhelmed by things that barely register in the awareness of the average person. Number 9, you have difficulty accepting criticism, even if it's accurate and constructive. You take criticism poorly. Even mild criticism can elicit a strong emotional reaction in those that are highly sensitive. Criticism isn't easy for most people to hear, but it can be devastating for an HSP. Number 10, you're easily overwhelmed by responsibilities and deadlines. When there's a lot to get done in a short amount of time, you can become bogged down by your anxiety very easily. Being highly sensitive might feel like it's a negative trait, but it can be very valuable. Highly sensitive people tend to be very thoughtful, creative, and intelligent. They can also be great partners. You have great empathy. If you are highly sensitive, you can relate more easily to the emotions of others. It's almost like you know what everyone is thinking and feeling. You're more aware of social cues. Highly sensitive people are very aware of social cues like body language, facial expressions, and how to use and interpret personal space. You're more alert to changes in the environment. You know when something has changed or items are out of place. You can feel when the mood of the room has changed. You're able to enjoy subtle things. You can notice small things and appreciate them. You're more likely to enjoy looking at art, a butterfly, or the clouds than the average person. This is almost like a superpower. You can entertain yourself with the simple things. You're often great with animals. You're passionate. You feel positive emotions more deeply. You can be innovative, very generous, and you're detail-oriented and conscientious. And you make a great leader. You're dedicated to fairness and justice. It's easy to see how these characteristics could be useful in art, negotiating, or working in counseling. There are many ways to use your abilities to your advantage. Use your natural strengths and avoid your natural weaknesses. This is always good advice if you want to be happy and successful. From what I've described so far, does this sound like you? If it does, leave me a comment below. Tell me what you experience. I want to hear all about it. There are many things that you can do to mitigate the potential negative effects of the SPS trait. You need to get enough sleep. Definitely avoid excessive amounts of caffeine. You don't need additional stimulation. Spend some time in relaxing environments each day. Create your own space. Avoid spending too much time in noisy, highly stimulating environments. Something that I want you to think about. There are advantages to being highly sensitive. Being observant and detail-oriented can be a valuable trait in the right setting. Make the most of what you have to work with, and you'll have less anxiety and will find life to be more fulfilling. HSP doesn't require treatment, but learning how to manage it can be useful in certain situations. So let's talk about what you can do about it. How to thrive in the world as a HSP. Learn how to recognize your emotions. Remember that distressing feelings like anxiety, sadness, and feeling overwhelmed will be temporary. Manage stress by exercising regularly, sleeping well, and confiding in trusted friends or a therapist about your difficulties. Let friends, coworkers, and family members know that you become overstimulated in loud environments, and let them know how you're going to cope in these situations. You can tell them, I get overwhelmed by bright lights. If I step outside for a few minutes, don't worry. You also want to begin a self-compassion practice, directing kindness and gratitude toward yourself instead of self-criticism. Meditation. Let me say that again. Meditation. Start meditating each day, even if it's for 5 or 10 minutes. You will find it extremely helpful. I have 2 meditations that you may want to try. I'll have them on the end screen for you. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you would like more information like this. I post a new video every Sunday and have a lot of new content coming out. I'll see you next time.